Gets open for three. Dagger!
The kick, and here it comes. Swing and a miss! And a World Series Game 7 winning Curly W is in the books.
Washington Capitals are the 2018 Stanley Cup champions. You like that? You like that? I like that.
You gotta like that, right? My approval ratings keep going up.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business.
Welcome into Defeating the Curse. My name is Joe. FP is on mic 2 this evening. There is a zillion things going on in the nation's capital. We got players getting carjacked. We've got Nationals trying to win games. We got pitchers winning games after league record 43, I think, chances failed. Maybe we save that topic for when Stevie or Matt the Met can join us. But FP, it's good to see you. It seems like it's been a whole football offseason, I think, since you and I have talked or been on one of these shows together. So it's nice to see your face. It's nice to be back. It's nice to be, 10 days, I think, 10 days or so until football officially begins. There's a lot happening. Obviously, tomorrow, we're recording this on the day before the cuts, the big cuts. And, I got one question for you. How bad, how terrible are the Commanders going to be defensively? I have no idea how they didn't make enough moves. Jamin Davis was out there playing. He was getting in reps with the third, fourth, and fifth team players. How bad is, and I'm not picking on him, but JDR seems lost. They didn't add any substantial or meaningful talent defensively, as far as I can tell. I mean, it's just going to be a show, dude. I mean, how many points are they going to? They're going to have to score a zillion points to be competitive. Defensively, I am scared. I'm scared for this team.
You should be scared. I mean, really, it comes down to, like you said, Ron Rivera, for whatever reason, has hitched his wagon to the Jamin Davis show. There was a report that came out about like the after effects of Ron with like his chemo and like his cancer treatment. And there was one line
about any of that. I don't want to hear about any of that.
There's one line that said that he was like that he had like cloudy judgment or something. And it just, not to make light of it, but it's like Jamin Davis.
Is he the only one missing picks? Is he the only guy? There's no one else in the building. No one's paying attention.
I'll put it this way: if Jamin Davis were to get cut by the Commanders, I wouldn't be surprised if another team didn't pick him up. That's how bad he is. And what's worse,
he's out of the league. Done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what has he shown? What's scarier is if you look at some of the cuts that have already been made. Almost no team is cutting linebackers, right? No real.
We are the only team. We are. This team is the only team that's going into the season with two linebackers and this weird defensive
third string linebackers.
Like, I don't get it. I mean, and Ron, even the soundbite I think going into the preseason game was, they'll be looking for linebackers basically post cuts. Like we're looking for scraps here basically. Like, I mean, that's right. Where we are defensively as the, it's not bad enough that you don't add any meaningful talent on the defensive side of the ball. And then on top of that, you lose some key contributors and players, guys like Settle and Ioannidis. Mm-hmm. Then you fire one of the coaches and just like, hey, I feel like we got to make a change here.
Yep.
Then you've got the coach saying, depending on cuts, we may or may not go dumpster diving to see what we can grab from other teams. Most notably, of course, is going to be Carolina. I mean, that's what it is. It's dumpster diving. And again, I'm not trying to be rude, but you're going to look for scraps from every team because what you have is not. I mean, they will likely find a linebacker starting Tuesday afternoon post cuts that is better than at least half of the current linebackers on the roster. That's a terrible position to be in.
Yeah, we're so bad that and almost any linebacker that gets cut is an upgrade for us, which is
and
terrible.
They're bringing the safeties. They're going to keep bringing the safeties into the box, which means they're going to be susceptible to the long ball. Like man, how many times have we seen? We know exactly how this story plays out, right? You're going to start bringing guys down to the line to create pressure because you're not getting home with your front four, or in this case, your front six, or whatever it is. Your linebackers are going to be matched up against either slot guy, the Z receivers, or tight ends, which they cannot cover. And if you can get a foot of separation and get past them, it's game over. It's a 20-yard gain every time. And because the cornerbacks in the secondary is going to have to cheat up, you're susceptible now to the long ball as well, which is, I mean, it's just perfect. It's just perfect, for the modern NFL, that you can't defend the little stuff, you can't defend the intermediate, and because you're bringing everybody forward or up to the line of scrimmage, you're going to be susceptible now to the long, because the secondary was the strength of the defense last year, right? I mean, they played better than the front, than the front.
They definitely carried the defense, yes.
Okay, so you're going to have to play them out of position. That's with all the Landon Collins and the Buffalo nickel and move him up and down and whatever, like all that shuffling. It was a bad unit, and that was the best part of the bad unit. And they will continue to have to carry the load here, but they're going to be out of position. I mean, it's terrible.
Speaking of Landon Collins, I don't think he's on a team. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that happen.
Just bring him back and call him the Superman linebacker. Call him whatever you want to call him, but stick him in the middle of that lineup and just tell him, like, please don't let anyone pass you as much as you can. I mean,
you're absolutely right. The scariest part going into this season is 100% the defense, which, based on what we've seen the offense do,
it's shocking.
That's terrifying. It's terrifying that you have 4 first-round picks. Chase comes back week 10 or whatever he's supposed to do.
I'm done with Chase.
Yeah, I'm almost ready to call him a bust. I'm almost ready. But the point is,
he's not a bust. I just don't want to hear about him anymore. I don't want to see him dancing. I don't want to see I just don't want to. I don't want to hear about Chase.
You spent so much capital on that defensive side of the ball, and yet it's still your weakest unit. And I don't know. Does JDR get fired in the middle of the season? Maybe
he won't make it to the middle. Ron's gonna have to let him go probably 2 weeks in. If they don't come out
0-2 to Jaguars and
Lions. If they don't come out and win the first 2, he's gone. He's gone. But it doesn't. But it doesn't make a meaning. Yeah, exactly. Like I've never bought into this idea that the coach doesn't. He's not out there making tackles. He's not out there missing tackles. He's not out there missing assignments. Like, yeah, to some extent, yes, he maybe put them in the wrong place. Whatever, you can make that argument. But like, what coach are you going to bring in that's going to fix your linebacking room? I mean, it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. It's just for show, And frankly, on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, Wentz is a huge upgrade over what we've had in the quarterback room. You can argue forever, and personally, I don't want, like Stevie and I got into this last week.
Simple comment.
I'm not going to argue where he belongs. Like, he's not going to be one of the all-time greatest Redskins or Commanders of all time. He's not going to end up in the Ring of Fame or whatever. But he's way better than Heineke, right? He's way better than probably Fitzpatrick would have been last year, right? I mean, he's not. He's
more mobile than Alex Smith, the strongest arm since Kirk. I mean, yeah, hands down, he's the best quarterback we've had for a while. 100%.
He's the best quarterback we've had since Kirk, right? I mean, it's got to be. He's got to be.
There's nothing to say about Wentz right now until next season when Ron pulls the ripcord and names Howell the starter.
Well, and we'll get to Howell here in a second, but like, I mean, Wentz is an upgrade.
Yes.
You've got to think that improves McLaurin's chances of catching a ball in stride, as opposed to having to do his gymnastics and leap and jump and break his route just to catch the ball. So that's an improvement there. Curtis looks promising. I guess we'll see what happens, right? I mean, there's no more setbacks, right? If he can stay on the field, he's he's in a position now where he's got to show us something. Like, I don't think you can bank on him being the guy he was 2 seasons ago. I think we have to see what he actually is going to be. But he does have some good hands, and he was, even in the games that he played, you remember, like, back to like the Falcons game early in last season, like, he was able to come in. Yeah, but he was able to come in and make some 4th down grabs and late, just move the chains types of catches. So it'll be nice to have him. And then we'll see. And Diami, it felt like I don't know how much that game you watched, the final preseason game. It looked like they were evaluating Diami very heavily. He was targeted.
Diami stays on this team.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to say he does, but I mean, that's another. I feel like Ron has to keep him on because it's just another wasted Ron draft pick if he's not here, right? It's just another.
But I mean, you also have. I mean, it's also the Howell Diami connection from UNC, so there's a comfort there.
Who cares about?
No, I'm just saying that could be why you saw that on Saturday.
For every Chase Burrow situation, like, I mean, there's a zillion that don't pan out, right? And we could talk about Sam. We could talk about Howell too. I mean, Howell. Here's the question I would ask: did the Commanders find their future starting quarterback or their future backup quarterback?
We found our future lost in the drama quarterback. There's no scenario that plays out where Sam Howell sits on the bench a la Aaron Rodgers, learns the entire system, is ready to come in, dominate, and go ahead and jump to be an elite quarterback. What happens is Ron probably calls it quits after this season if it doesn't go the right way. Somebody new comes in. They want their own quarterback, their own system. Sam Howell gets lost in the shuffle. He'll be third string next year, right? And then he's gone. He's off the team. He'll never get his shot. That's unfortunately the most realistic situation. But from what we've seen him do, I mean, he was supposed to be the number 1 2022 NFL draft quarterback off the board. He just had a crappy season at UNC, not to his fault. So he fell to the 5th. But he again, we draft class, but he is the best. I think he is the best NFL quarterback that came out of this draft, and we just happened to get him at the 5th.
Yeah, I think this is probably. I think this is shaping up to be the pick that Ron will hang his hat on, right? Like this is the one that really. I mean, if he matures, I almost hope he doesn't see the field. This season.
Yeah, you don't want him to see the field. But
but this feels like it could be the one really like bright spot, right? As far as like the Ron draft classes, right? I mean, there's not a whole lot of Ron draft picks still on this team. There just isn't.
I mean, I'm liking Jahan. Jahan is helping him too. That's a pretty solid receiver pick right there. I mean, of course, we have B-Rob, who, I mean, we can get into that.
Can we say a prayer? Can we say a prayer for him right now? Is it not allowed? Can the DTC crew? Can we say a prayer?
PTSD. Seeing that headline.
The second that Stevie dropped that in the chat, on Sunday, I was like, this is a joke. There's no way.
Severe PTSD.
You guys just trying to get some Ben's chili. He's just trying to get a hot dog. And
5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's full brightness. It's full sunlight.
Fuck Stevie, man. Those are his people down there doing this insanity. Like you can't have this. You can't have this. Like in what other city? Let me just forget about
New York, the 2 refugee cities.
Well, not even. Just hear me out for a second. In what other major market city where the NFL has a team do players get like this little amount of respect that they literally are getting jumped in the street in the middle of the day? Like, I can't think.
You're right.
Like, I mean, NFL players are like royalty. They're literally like royalty in every city.
You think anybody in Seattle back in the day would even approach Marshawn Lynch with any sort of anything outside of pure praise?
But look at what just happened. Marshawn got picked up for sleeping in his car. I don't know if you saw that story, right? But the TMZ cameras, of course, are always rolling, right? But like that's a bad look, right? But I mean, you can at least say he did that to himself. But like the fans immediately came to his aid, and they were sending Skittles to the county jail. Like this is like NFL players are the closest thing that we have to royalty in the United States.
Yeah,
and man, like this is our guy. This is not. I mean, RIP 21 forever. Like this is not that, right?
Right.
Like this is not that.
This was in our backyard.
Here, like this is the city this is the team he plays for here. Like he should be walking around. People should be high. I can't wait to see you on the field. Can you sign my receipt or sign my chest or whatever?
The problem is nobody's watching Commanders preseason games. Nobody's following it except the diehards. There's probably 800,000 NBDs out there.
Go tell
I have no idea who he is.
All these yahoos that are running around saying no, that the attendance is going to be up and whatever. One of your draft picks just got jumped in the middle of the day in DC because the team is like there is no connection between the city and the Commanders right now. Or frankly, even if they were called the Redskins, this has nothing to do with the name. The team has been so bad and the ownership has been so corrupt and all the scandal. People don't care. Like we are the very small minority at this point of fans that still give a shit about this team. But in reality, in any other market, the backup running back who's having a great a great preseason.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting high fives in the street and free. Let me buy you that. I mean, if you and I saw him, like, hey, that bowl of, that bowl of chili's on me, no problem.
Yeah, for sure.
But in DC, nobody cares. Nobody cares about the team. No one cares about the players. And they're jumping in for what? A $40,000 Mopar. What was it? What was he driving?
Yeah,
A Dodge
Challenger Hellcat. It
Yeah,
was a little
okay.
more than 40, but still, there's
Whatever.
1,000 of them on the road.
Yes, exactly.
It's not a rare car. He's not rocking a Bugatti or a Lamborghini.
But he also wasn't at a
not.
club, and he wasn't picking a fight.
Right.
He was buying chili. Like, he was literally like
He was
going
getting
where
to
the
know his
people
city.
are. He's literally
He was getting
going
to know his
where-
city.
Yes.
He's like, hey, let's find out why the Bullets changed their name to the Wizards because it was too violent. That's what he found out. He found out why the name changed from the Bullets to the Wizards. That's how dumb this city is.
Well,
Why would any player want to come here? Why would any
that's
player
a whole other,
want to come
that's
to
a whole other
DC?
question. My point is, you're right. That's a whole other thing. Why come and deal with this? The fans don't know who these players are. They don't. I don't think anybody cares about the Commanders as a brand. As it's like, nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. But this is a crazy story. And frankly, you can make a case that he was having one of the better preseasons and was looking very promising. Like, nice little, counterbalance, like a nice third piece in that running back stable.
I mean,
especially because you don't know what's going to happen with
the starting position. He landed it. He wasn't playing preseason on Saturday. He landed starting position. He's not out there returning picks.
I mean, you're right. I mean, he looked better than Gibson.
I'm pretty sure he was RB1. And the thing is, dude,
so now what do you do?
Put him on 4 years at Bama. 5 years at Bama.
That's right. Yeah, but it's such a DC thing. It's such a DC thing, right? I mean, it's and just one last thing on the Howell thing, like the UNC quarterback. I don't know how you read all of this. Like, I'm not a huge college football guy, right? But like, my brain just goes to Daniel Jones, right? A guy from a school that nobody, like, not a football school, and he gets to the NFL and everyone's hyping him, but he plays like a guy from a school that doesn't really do football very well. And that's my concern with someone like a Howell, right? Like, Wentz, some of these guys come from schools like, and they have these amazing seasons or whatever. Like, I don't know enough about
quarterback. The thing with quarterback is it comes down to natural, pure, God-given talent, arm strength, footwork, whatever, and brains, right? You can learn whatever system you need to learn. Daniel Jones never looked like he had this crazy arm, great skill, and he kind of had Eli face. He never looked like he was sharp mentally, right? That's just not kind of maybe he's super smart. He just never, to the media, he never gave off that vibe.
Super smart.
Yeah, but like, he never gave off that vibe. But Howell looks like he doesn't care about anything, which you kind of want your quarterback to have that ability. But Howell has a pretty strong arm, and so far, I mean, he's
elusive.
He's picked up Scott Turner's offense, which a lot of people have said isn't the easiest offense.
It's not, because it looks very vanilla to me, and maybe that's just
predictable. It's not easy.
Yeah. How many bubble screens for 4 yards when we need 6 are we going to see this year on third down? Right? I mean,
as many times as we'll set up behind the sticks when we have to stop a third down.
Honestly, that's probably the one thing I'm looking forward to more than anything, is seeing how Wentz audibles out of sets, right? Like, Wentz, I don't want to poo-poo on Heineke too much, but Wentz is a different caliber of quarterback, right? It's very similar, again, to like having Fitzpatrick theoretically. We had him for 2 series last year, right? But someone who can read a defense and then make a play call, like make a change at the line, or send a receiver into a hot route, because he's got some good pass catching options, right? Like, why not give him a little bit more flexibility at the line of scrimmage? And frankly, they're going to have to throw the ball a ton because the defense is going to bleed points. And I hate to say it, but I don't see how they will be any better than they were last year. And they were really bad last year. There's just holes all over that defense.
It sounds stupid, but Wentz having the height advantage over Heineke is actually a major selling point. To be able to just stand back there, and to be able to stand back there and actually see the defense and be like, oh, this is actually the better play. I'm going to get out of this hot route. I'm going to throw it here, whatever. That's a huge step. I mean, I love Heineke, but Heineke just didn't have
No, Heineke did like 10
real
step
talent.
drops and would have to
Yeah.
roll to one side or the other to be able to
Right.
see. And again, I don't want to poop on Heineke because he's,
He's
every
a dog.
win,
He's got that dog in him.
every meaningful win this team has had for 2 seasons is because of Heineke. It just is.
Right.
Like no one else has won a game that matters, for this franchise. So you can't take away like the accomplishments that he is what he is. Wentz is a significant upgrade. You got to think that, I mean, the receiving room looks more complete. The running back room looks to be at worst the same, which is fine. I mean, JD
Right.
should have a similar season. Tight end room looks
very weak. Very weak.
I mean,
Depends
problematic.
on Logan Thomas. If Logan Thomas gets hurt, then maybe your rookie steps up.
So it's really more about like
maybe Armani keeps surprising you.
Maybe. Yeah, but I mean,
Very
but
weak.
the offensive line has looked better than expected, with some patchwork pieces there. So,
Pro Football Focus has us pretty high up there for the O-line.
Well,
Better
because
than
the
what
stalwarts
had.
Yeah. But even then, they lost some meaningful pieces. But the pieces you lost on offense, you'll be okay without them. The pieces, and Stevie gave me hell for this last week. I think people really underestimate what a guy like Matt Ioannidis meant to this team, like through the different administrations and through the different packages and through, this is a guy that just went to work every day, played behind, all of the big names, could bench press a house, and Tim Settle's another one. Like
it was nice to see those guys, but D-line depth doesn't.
Both of those guys reminded me of another guy who ended up in Buffalo, Lorenzo Alexander, just a dude that went to work and just did his job really well. And he was never fully appreciated here in DC, went to Buffalo and ended his career there. I think he works like media now in Buffalo, but they just remind me of that type of player. Like they just work. They're very, when they're on the field, they don't get beat. Right. And it makes you want to see them more frequently. Maybe it's a conditioning thing. Maybe it's just packages.
But I mean, but the truth is Allen and Payne are just that much better than them that it hurts as fans to see like homegrown guys go.
Yes. But Sweat and Chase, Sweat might be the best player we have on defense. And I don't think it's close.
Yeah.
I think he's the most complete. I think he could do the most things. And he didn't have the greatest debut either when he came out, and the first couple games were a little rough, but
well, then they're also saying Fuller is kind of back to form and he's had a great camp.
But if he's got to play out of position, if he's not playing corner, if he's got to play, like some hybrid safety thing because the actual safety's got to go cheat up to help the linebackers, doesn't matter, man. Like there's too much talent, even in our poo-poo division. Like, I mean, it's not even that poo-poo. I mean, the Giants are poo-poo, but like the Eagles are.
Eagles are depending on Jalen Hurts, who's poo-poo.
Yeah, but I mean, who's going to D up that receiving core? There's some good receivers there.
Yeah, but I mean, the Cowboys got a little bit poopier, right? Like they got a little bit worse.
Okay, give me your NFC East. Give me the end of season rankings here for the NFC East.
I would go Cowboys, Commanders, Eagles, Giants.
I hope you're right.
I
hope you're right.
I have more faith in the Commanders figuring it out than the Eagles catching lightning in a bottle twice and winning out the season strong and going into the playoffs. If you have Heineke and you're at 7 to 8 wins plus COVID decimating your team, you get Wentz with health. Why can't you get 9 to 10 with a much, much easier schedule?
Because your defense is worse. Your defense is worse.
At worst case, it's the same.
No.
Worst case, it's the same.
No.
Yeah. Worst case, it's the same.
No, because you can't make that proclamation because you don't know what version of Chase you're going to get back.
Chase wasn't even in for half the season last year. So at worst case, it's the same.
I mean, I hope you're right, but I see them
this season without him. You ended the season without him.
I think the Eagles are better than the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are better than the Commanders.
You
I think the
think
Commanders and the
Eagles are better
Giants
than the
are.
Cowboys?
I think so.
I think
Because
Mike
their
Parsons
quarterback,
had a monster season too.
I think Jalen has to do less than Dak for his team to be successful.
Yeah. No, Jalen has to do way more.
No, I don't think so. I think he can do. I think he
Jalen.
can do more. I mean, Dak. Well, yeah. What do we know? What do we know? What do we know? Right? We're sitting here. I just, even if they can hang with these teams offensively, FP, I think defensively they're just going to get caught in these shootouts because the defense is just so poor. I don't know what else to say. I think the defense
The Eagles are the ones that took what's his face from the Titans. Who'd they take from the Titans?
AJ Brown.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
And
nobody can guard.
The Cowboys lost Cooper.
They lost Cooper, but he was kind of middling in that offense anyway, right? I mean, they have a CD and they've got plenty of pieces there.
I think our wide receiver room might be the best in the East.
I think it depends. I mean, if you get Curtis Samuel for 2 years ago, yeah, and it's by a lot.
If Curtis can get you 60% of like a Debo type of player, 60%.
He needs 50 catches for 800 yards. That's a successful season for him at this point. That's a great season actually, right? Because that means Terry's well over 100, and it probably means that Jahan is probably around the same, around 50 to 60 catches for 800 yards. I mean, if that happens, then I'm with you. That's a lot of yards. That's a lot of potential touchdowns. That's a lot of.
I tell you
fluid.
what, Wentz is kind of the guy that you want because he loves that deep shot. And the downfall of Wentz is he's playing hero ball. He's going for the win when he doesn't need to. But when you're on a team like the Commanders, where every single game for the last 15 seasons comes down to the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, Wentz is exactly who you want because he's going to be forced into playing hero ball. And he has a lot of
accuracy thing is annoying, and there's a lot of balls thrown in the dirt. That's super annoying. There's a lot of miswritten. He misreads a lot of the zone stuff, which is problematic. So
right.
Like,
I mean, you have Heineke, you have Haskins, RIP, you have Fitzpatrick, even Alex Smith, dink and dunk. You've had quarterbacks, like Terry has had quarterbacks the last 4 seasons that think he's either 7.5 feet tall or 50 yards to the left. He's used to it.
Yes, this is true. This is true. I mean, and they paid him, right? He's going to want his touches, and rightfully so. Yeah, I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged by what I'm seeing from the offense, and hopefully the Robinson injury isn't. I mean, he can't go on PUP because he's played, which is problematic too. And you're not going to cut him, so I don't really know what the team. Like, he's just going to take up a roster
because it was 2 shots in the legs, right? Like calf area and thigh. Is that what they said?
Like, how do you recover?
Were they grazes?
I don't know. I don't know. What do I know?
I mean, he posted on Instagram saying he was feeling good after surgery.
So can you get out there and run a 40? I mean, can you carry the ball into the end zone? Like, what does that mean for us, right? I mean,
neither
Alex
of us
Smith felt good after surgery and then ended up with like infections and
but
disgusting.
It sounds weird. It sounds weird to say this, but like, you almost want to recover from like a gunshot wound than like a torn ligament. Like, you're not structurally broken. You're just in pain.
There's a hole.
Put a thigh pad over it and take a lot of.
I mean, we'll see him at some point, right? And the hope is that McKissick and Gibson, Gibson in particular, I think this is a make or break year for him. I mean, for a lot of players, but him in particular, like the decision making seems delayed, especially on the zone read.
How torn are you mentally if you're Antonio Gibson Sunday afternoon when you get the team text? No, like how mentally torn are you? Where you're like, damn, I feel so bad for dude, but you're also like, yes,
my job's secure.
Like, thank God, I got one more shot.
Yeah.
That's hard.
He'll be. I think Gibson will be okay. I like the fact that they were running him a little bit more in that random receiver package. I mean, just that's a nothing burger, but I think you're going to see him on more wheel routes. I think you're going to see more opportunities for him to get hopefully just parked a couple feet behind the linebackers in a zone read. Let him catch the ball and see if he can turn around and at worst just catch it and fall over. Right, keep the ball moving.
If he's playing as RB1 and he fumbles once against the Jaguars, I guarantee you he's not seeing the field, and we're going to see Garrett Patterson and J.D. McKissick. 100%.
Well, I'll say this: the issue I had with Gibson last year, the fumbles were problematic, but the circumstances around the fumbles were the problem. Right, these were drives where you're looking to sustain a drive, you're in scoring position, I mean, against the Chargers early in the season, I think it was, I think they were driving they got the ball back and they were moving forward and it was a fumble there. I think against the Lions or one of those other throwaway teams, like they fumbled on the last possession and the other team was able to run out the clock. So it's the circumstances surrounding the fumbles more than the fumbles themselves. Like 6 fumbles it's not good, but it's also not like atrocious. It's not good. I know.
Bad. It's pretty bad.
Yeah,
but also, I mean, a lot of those fumbles were in our own red zone.
That's what I'm saying. Like
after the defense finally stopped somebody.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. The circumstances around them were more problematic than like as a package they were problematic. But I think he'll be fine. He'll be fine. Is there anything else you want to talk about the preseason? I mean, Tom Brady showed up in Tampa. Tom Brady, by the way, I don't know if you saw the presser. I know he's 40, 45. 44. He's old.
44 going to 45. Yeah.
But he looked like he aged 20 years this offseason. He looks old. Maybe just, I don't know, was it plastic surgery? I don't know. His face looks not great.
I think Tampa Tom is just, living his best life. I think he's
Sunburned,
drinking
leathery.
more. Yeah. He's probably out there on the beach enjoying his supermodel life.
For all the people saying there was, panic at the disco in Tampa, he shows up and makes Julio Jones look like an NFL receiver again. So, I mean that. What a nice compliment of receivers he's got down there. Lose AB, add Julio, like great,
and still have Mike Evans,
and still have Mike Evans, who is criminally underrated and seems like statistically always forgotten. I mean, this guy.
He's Terry's kind of the Mike Evans 2.0.
I mean, different build and different game a little bit, but yeah.
I just mean the disrespect.
Yeah. There was a graphic I saw comparing Mike Evans and I think it was Devonta, and they basically Devonta gets all the love and he's the best receiver, blah blah blah, and Mike has better numbers in every statistical category, and they're from the same draft class.
It comes down to who throws the ball to him. That's all it is.
No, he had Jameis. He had Jameis and Fitz.
Exactly.
And
for Aaron Rodgers. It's a popularity contest. You wanted to talk about the Aaron Rodgers connection more than Jameis.
Yeah, where is Jameis anyway? Is he still in New Orleans?
New Orleans. Yeah, he's doing some gimpy leg routines on his YouTube videos or whatever. He's hilarious.
Whatever. We'll see what happens we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm interested to see where the cuts land, more so for the other teams. And I do believe that I think Ron's going to be making more than just the cuts. I think he's going to be making room for scrap players from other teams. I think he has to, on defense in particular. The defensive unit is not good. It's just not good.
If you make it out of this week without an inside linebacker, anyone, I don't even care if
do they have more than 2 linebackers on the roster? They have Cole and Jamin. Who else? Who else they got on playing linebacker on this team?
We brought back what's his face? Or no, Sean Dion Hamilton got cut.
Yeah, he's not here.
I'd bring him back.
Pull up a depth chart and just and see how many they got. I mean, there's only 2 that have played that I can recall throughout the entire. I mean, like I said, they keep cheating with Cam and the other safeties. They keep bringing safeties up.
Yeah, I mean, Trey Walker.
Okay, he won't be on the roster.
Milo Eifler.
He won't be here either. Mayo.
No.
Is Mayo still on
David
the
Mayo. I guess Kaliki Hudson. They're all scrubs. Any 31 other teams cut any inside linebacker, they're better. Or they're equal to a Cole Holcomb.
I mean, wasn't somebody once there was a big name that was cut, right? This offseason? Who am I thinking?
No, it was the big name is the guy from the Bears that wanted out.
I don't remember who that was. I just feel like there was a linebacker that became available, and people asked Ron.
Roquan Smith from the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
He's like they're all pro. He wanted out because he's like the last good player on that defense, and we didn't make room for him, or we can't.
No, we don't have space. We got studs. We got studs here on defense. Ugh, I can't. They're gonna give up. They're gonna give up 100 points in the first 3 weeks, and it's gonna be atrocious.
Oh, dude,
I can just.
Trevor Lawrence is gonna look like the second coming of like Elway or
He looks like
Montana.
Peyton Manning. He looks like
Yeah,
Peyton Manning this offseason. He
he's
literally
gonna
has full
destroy
command
us.
of the offense. Did you watch any of the Jags preseason? I mean, I just saw like highlight packages here and there. He's
Yeah.
audibling out of everything at the line of
Yeah.
scrimmage. He literally matured 5 NFL years in one offseason.
Wait, and you gave him
Probably
the
helped
chip on the
him.
shoulder of saying this is Urban's fault, not my fault. So he's like extra committed.
But he's literally out there just changing everything at the line of scrimmage. I mean, this is going to be a problem for a defense like ours, which doesn't have many pieces to swap in and out.
And anytime you watch the Lions Hard Knocks episode, hilarious.
Oh, can we talk about Hard Knocks? Are you caught up
my
on Hard
goodness.
Knocks?
I'm
We
caught
get an
up
episode
on
tonight.
Hard
We
Knocks.
get one tomorrow, I think, right?
Tomorrow night.
Yeah. So I've actually changed. I've changed my fantasy draft strategy. We have the legacy league. We have a keeper model, and I think I'm going to keep DeAndre Swift just because I have bought into the DeAndre Swift hype from the show. And you know, Staley's telling him you're a top running back. I'm like, yeah, he is a top running back. Even though there's 2 of them on the team, even though it's him and Jamal, I'm just like, yeah, fine. I'll keep DeAndre. I'm all in on DeAndre. I love it.
100%.
I love Hard
I'm
Knocks.
all in on Amon-Ra, what's his face?
Amon-Ra
St. Brown. I'm all in on him having a stellar year.
He's wide receiver 1 there by a mile too.
Right. I mean, yes, it's Goff, but Goff went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't think Goff is the problem there. He's overpaid, but he's not the problem.
100%. No,
but I'm fascinated.
I'll tell you what.
Do you think Ron's running around doing push-ups with the defensive unit and mixing it up with the players and booty shorts this and go sing? Like, do you think the Commanders have a culture anything like the Lions, the shit dump Lions?
I think Carolina Ron, pre-cancer Ron, was a lot like Dan Campbell. And you got it from like the Amazon Prime like all or nothing season or whatever, where Ron is in there shouting and lively or whatever. But the Commanders have post-cancer Ron. And like I was telling you, there's a whole WAPO article about it. He has to take naps in the middle of the day. He can't scream anymore because it hurts his throat. Like the after effects of cancer Ron,
I feel like Commanders are just
completely changed his coaching style.
Doesn't it feel like
he's
Club
not
J?
Ron?
What's changed here? Club J was a big problem, right? The ping pong tables and the players aren't taking things seriously. Whatever.
No, I think you got the high ethic quality players in. I don't think you have anybody that's kind of
not on the roster. What were you talking about? Who?
What?
Jamie Davis?
All the players that Ron has brought in are high ethic guys. They're all working.
All the Panthers scrubs that are now on the Commanders.
Yeah, what about they're all high ethic players.
They can't play. They can't play football.
I'm not saying they're talented players. I'm saying they're high ethic players. I'm saying they're on the field doing the work. What I'm saying is post-cancer Ron, post-chemotherapy Ron is not Dan Campbell level anymore. He's not Carolina Ron anymore. He's not cursing and shouting and doing up downs, and he's not.
Belichick's not running around doing that either. Belichick's not doing that either. Belichick probably doesn't even talk.
You can't mention Belichick anymore. Tom Brady was the brains of that operation.
Oh,
Belichick is struggling.
Give it a rest. Belichick is still the best coach to ever coach in the league. Ever.
No, Tom was the best to ever play in the league. Bill Belichick is a bum. He's a bum. I'm sorry.
I'm going to isolate this and play it back for you when they win 10 games.
Play it back for me.
And make a run for the Super Bowl. You're insane.
Have you ever seen a Bill Belichick team getting that many fights during preseason against whoever the other team was? The Panthers, I think, actually.
Maybe he told them to go out there and mix it up.
No, maybe everybody in New England respected Tom Brady his work ethic.
Oh, my God. Have you ever seen another head coach go out there and say, F these guys, we're going to run the ball for 53 times and throw it 3?
Have you ever seen a coach that says, oh shit, we have nothing to do but run the ball because I'm not actually a genius coach? So let's run the exact same play.
I think you're way off base here with the Belichick hate.
Bill Belichick's a bum.
I think
He's
Vegas
not
is
a good
having
coach.
9.5 wins, and I would take the over on that. I think
Not a good coach.
You
He
can't say
he
that.
he rode the Tom Brady
He had
coattails.
Garoppolo in there
far
and
too
still was
long.
successful. He had Jacoby Brissett and was still successful, and now he's got
What's
Mac.
successful? What's successful?
Winning
What did he do
season,
that was successful?
Winning season. By DC standards, he's the greatest of all time.
Against the Jets.
A lot. Man.
Come on, against the Jets. The Jets and the Dolphins.
So
The
much.
Jets and the Dolphins are significantly worse than the
The
Eagles
Dolphins,
and the Giants.
Dolphins. Listen, if Tua can get the ball consistently, somewhere close to,
not gonna happen.
They might be really fun to watch. I mean, they might be really fun to watch.
My theory is Tyreek Hill keeps putting his foot in his mouth about Tua to put all the pressure on the world on Tua, so that Tua can't live up to it, gets booted out, and then Tyreek has a say on who the next quarterback.
Who has a better season, the combo of Tua and Hill, or the combo of Mahomes and Juju?
Wentz and Terry.
What? What am I supposed to do with that? Oh God! Okay,
it's almost September 1. The homers got to come out. No, but obviously Mahomes, 1,000%.
I don't know, man.
Juju's not a bad receiver.
He's not, but he's not Hill. He's not. I mean, he's not 440. Like
who has been throwing the ball to Juju? Broken Big Ben and
but look,
in an offense that's
like a hot take, but I don't mean this to be a hot take.
With Najee,
I'm off the Mahomes train after seeing him in Washington last season. He's too cute with the ball.
Did you watch how cute he was with the ball in our preseason game, where he's bailing to his left and side flicks it across the middle to the right and the tight end?
Yes, and it works against poopy defensive players and the Redskins. I get it. Yes, but when he faces a real defense,
25 of the defense in the league are poopy.
Okay, so but the 5 that aren't poopy that he's going to have to actually beat to win a championship, you can't do that stuff, and you can't do it when it's not Hill, right? Like you can't just fling it up and catch it and trust him to go get it. Like he's just
Juju can catch. Juju has good hands.
He can. Mahomes' thing is not so much the accuracy as it is the zip, right?
I don't know. I would say Juju is probably a more well-rounded receiver, and Tyreek only banks on speed. Tyreek is Deshaun Jackson without the injury history. That's it.
Yep. I mean, there's no one like him, right? He can take a 4-yard out and go house, or he can just run right past you. I mean, he was burning people. I mean, he is slowing down to catch balls, right? And that's the big problem. That's the big problem that Tua is going to have to overcome. Either throw it a lot earlier, or I mean, you just got to get it to him faster. You got to get it to him faster.
Sounds like a good receiver would have consistent route running and chemistry with their quarterback, and not have to keep adjusting speeds.
I mean, okay, so where do you land in on like a guy like Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen? Right? Like,
yeah, I would say
they should crush.
They should.
I mean, Buffalo should be the favorite, tape to tape. I think the defense is really good. The offense is really good. Although they just cut their punter that blasts like 80-yard bombs left and right. He's gone.
Well,
but,
yeah, I mean,
but there's allegations, and I get it. You know, but there's a guy playing quarterback in Cleveland with a lot more.
Dan Snyder is probably like, that's my kind of guy.
Except he's got a good punter, so yeah, he can't bring him in. Yeah, you're right.
Snyder's like, I wonder if I can get him on the yacht.
Snyder's not back. He's never coming back. Snyder can't.
No, apparently he was in the room yesterday with B-Rob. Apparently Dan, Tanya, Jason Wright, Ron,
Jason Wright's another
medical doctor. Apparently they were all in the room yesterday with Brian Robinson. I texted LP about this. I was like, I would not be surprised.
You're breaking
Dan was actually no, it's not. It's all over Twitter. Apparently he was in the hospital room. I told LP, I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Congress, if like somebody tried to
serve him,
like
right there,
serve him right then and there.
Yeah, here's your pizza, Mr. Snyder, and then boom.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. Okay, I'm gonna go look for that.
Yeah. I mean,
Anything
he's
else
probably
before you
already
want to
out
talk
of the
about?
country.
Sure. Lady L or whatever the name of the yacht is gone. I'm sure. But
When do I get the invite to the Big Boy Fantasy League? You guys are going on what, like 20 years now?
this is season number 19 for us, and we
It's
had
disgusting.
the draft lottery, like where we set the order.
At a wedding.
We did that at one of our GM owners at his wedding. We had the bride pick the order out of a hat, and
Who has
I won't say
first
who. The DJ wanted to announce it over the loudspeaker, like during the dinner when we were doing it. It was
Instead of speeches and prayers, it's draft
Yeah.
orders.
the league draft order. Your boy ended up with the second pick.
Do you
And
go
I'm-
Christian McCaffrey?
I think I'm going Derrick Henry. I think Christian McCaffrey is going to have either the best season ever because I didn't draft him, or the worst season ever because I do. So I think I'll save
I've been
myself the
burned
headache and
too
go-
many times by Christian McCaffrey.
I
But
was
you also have
wondering-
the Baker Mayfield Christian McCaffrey connection.
which I'm very keen on as well. I am keeping DeAndre Swift, right? So I'm starting with a running back. So I'm looking for that second stud, and then I'm going wide receiver heavy from rounds 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 probably, and then I'll pick up a scrap quarterback at that point, tight end, whatever. So
Should you go wide receiver heavy?
well, yeah, because I'll have DeAndre Swift will already be on my roster, right, as we start. So I'm thinking to go Derrick Henry, and then from there, just go receiver heavy for rounds 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's kind of my move, I think. And then target a guy like Gibson or a guy like even the Jamal Charles, like any of these guys, any of these backups, these second stringers that get a ton of carries. Eckler is an appealing one too. I think Eckler. I think I'd rather have Eckler. Yeah, I think I'd rather have Eckler. I think I'd rather have Eckler than CMC as well. I think. Then there's guys like Cooper Kupp. Like I can't take Kupp at 2, right? But if I can trade down to like 6 or 7, I'd probably snag him at that point too.
Kupp shouldn't be. If Kupp's available at 6 or 7 in your league, you're playing with a bunch of donks.
I mean, what are the chances he's going to have a season like he did last year? It's very unlikely.
Even if he has,
and even the fall off from there, right? Like you go to I'll take a Stephon Diggs in round 2 and be just as happy if I get, if going into round 3 I already have Swift, Henry, and Diggs. I'm very happy with those 3.
So you're saying Henry, or are you saying that whoever's the number 1 pick, 100% they're going Jonathan Taylor? Without question.
If Taylor, if by some miracle Taylor's there at 2, then I will take Taylor. But there's no way. I mean, he's the consensus number 1. Have you seen anyone rank him lower than 1? Yeah, there's no way. And I love the Matt Ryan upgrade, and they don't really have receivers there. So yeah, give me. I mean, if he falls, fine, I'll take him.
Every single team know that it's Jonathan Taylor only.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I would prefer not McCaffrey. I think I would rather Henry, but again, like if I can trade down and then grab a guy like Dalvin Cook, I would be fine. Justin Jefferson would be fine. I don't want any part of Najee. I don't want Joe Mixon. Jamar, I don't want any part of Jamar Chase.
Really?
But I see. I don't think that season can be replicated either. I think there's tape on him now, right? Debo's interesting. Tyreek obviously will be interesting. CeeDee Lamb will be interesting. There's a ton, but like when you get into the mid rounds, like guys like Jerry Jeudy, Chris Goodwin or Godwin, Marquise Brown with the Cardinals now. Like I love that. I love him there.
Godwin's out, right?
Is he? Still?
Yeah, he was the one. Yeah, isn't he missing?
Oh yeah. You're right. Allen Robinson now on the Rams.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's some value out there. I think I'm looking for the highest rated commander on the board is. I'm looking at a random top 200 just to see.
Highest rated commander has to be Terry.
Yeah, I'm looking to see Terry. Terry at 47. He's behind Elijah Mitchell, the backup running back, and George Kittle. He's ahead of George Kittle. He's ahead of Lamar Jackson. Here's another one I don't care about. Zeke is all the way down to 35. I mean, it's interesting. Like there's always Jahan Dotson, 168 out of 200. Jamal Williams, the backup running back, in Detroit at 155. Saints D looks promising. I mean, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
When's the draft?
Draft is this Friday evening, so your boy's doing some cramming here just to get ready. Trying to get
I
prepared.
say we do a post fantasy football draft recap where we all compare our teams, even if it's different leagues. See who comes.
I'm most interested in strategy. I really like if you have a mid or late pick, it's pretty standard, right? It's the early
you guys
picks.
Do snake?
Yeah. Snake half PPR.
Half PPR.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Changes things.
Changes
we tried
things.
auction one year and nobody understood it.
How many bench spots?
4.
Keep
it very light. So there's always activity on the
and
we cap the ad drops 20.
Is it running back, receiver, flex, or do you do 2?
No, 2.
2 running back, 2 receiver,
2 flex.
2 flex. Oh.
And no kickers. And there's
so I
bonus
think
points.
The team that I do with LP is 2 running backs, 2 receivers, tight end flex, but you only get 3 bench spots. Full PPR.
Yeah, I like the light on the bench spots because it forces trade action.
Yeah. After week 6, you could have a completely different team that's still competitive.
And you're not hoarding players, and it just forces a little bit more team like interaction. But I got one more thing before we wrap this one up. Are you watching the House of the Dragon?
I am. I was anti House of Dragon before it started, but that first episode sucked me right back in. I like it.
Yeah, it's as if seasons 7 and 8 of Game or 6 and 7 or whatever the last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones never happened.
It just shows you how thirsty like the world is to be back in like George R.R. Martin's like creation.
But it couldn't have been more opposite to me than the last couple of seasons of the sloppiness that was Game of Thrones, right? Like there was no Starbucks cups. Yes. I didn't have to adjust the brightness on my TV. I could see everything properly. Right?
Didn't film in the dark.
It didn't exactly. It wasn't filmed in the dark, and then they were telling me it's my problem, not their problem. No, that's not how this works. There's a little bit of cheese, a little bit of weird, placement.
Apparently, it's not super expensive to show CGI dragons anymore. It's affordable now. We can get it every episode.
Possibly, yes, I could see that too. Some of the casting choices I think have been excellent so far. But you're right. I mean, it's one of these things where it takes place far enough before where what's coming, and everything that they're basically like. The context to me is very interesting because like the biggest problem they have doesn't even measure like it's not even it's a
blip to
doesn't even register compared to what's coming. 170 years in the future. So I really like that actually. So yeah, it's been good. It's been good. I've enjoyed it. Music is good.
It's a completed book. They can't deviate from the book. It's like a textbook. There's so much stuff in there that they can touch on. You can't.
Yeah, and again, the casting. I know I see some people getting some heat for the casting of certain like Rhaenyra and some. I think she's fine.
I think she's good. I mean, and Homie, the people aren't happy with Homie being the.
He just seems very forced into the whole thing, but it's okay.
There's a little forced dialogue lines that come in here that are very 2022 dialogue lines. It's like you don't have to say it that way,
but they do, so they don't get canceled, right? So, yeah, but overall, I would say we're rating it out of 5. I don't know, it's solid 3.5, 4, right? So far, 2 episodes in.
How was last season of Animal Kingdom? I need to catch up. I heard it fell off a little bit. Fell off a little bit.
Season.
Good it
Well,
was.
oh yeah. I mean, you can only do so much like Ocean's 11 stuff, right? Where you're just like, you get into the realm of the really unbelievable. Like early in the series, you had kind of Smurf kind of dictating, and she's got all these connections with police and whatever, and they're doing like small jobs, right? Like by the end of it, they're doing like like it's like the Italian Job or like Fast and Furious 5. They're like doing like these full blown heists with you know,
You start
helicopters.
from you start playing Grand Theft Auto, you end up Fast and Furious where you're in space.
Yeah, like it's a little problematic, I think. I will say that the flashbacks, I don't want to ruin it for you, but like the flashbacks and cutaways in the final season are annoying. And especially when you actually get to the end, there's so many things that were just unresolved. Like there was cutaways and people introduced that have an opportunity to play a more pronounced like or central role in the story as it wraps up, and they just kind of abandon all that. The actual finale was this past Sunday, was yesterday. It felt like it needed like another 15 minutes. And I think if you follow any like the chatter online and stuff, like the character that everybody wanted to see survive doesn't. The character that everybody wants to see die doesn't. And they leave 2 or 3 like open hooks. If a Netflix or a Peacock, somebody wants to pick it up and yeah, I mean, not necessarily spinoff. If somebody wants to pick it up and keep it moving, they potentially could. I don't think it will. I don't think that show ever got like that popular. But I've enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoyed it.
I'm gonna re-binge that, and then I want to start The Bear because apparently that's a really good show too.
I haven't gotten into that. The Old Man is the one that I'm kind of I keep going back and forth on. But the when you sit down to actually binge Animal, it's perfect actually to binge it. You can literally do the 15-minute skip bit on all of the flashbacks, and you don't need any of them. They literally wasted half of the season with these cutaways to the 70s version of Smurf and Company, and it was just you don't need any of it. You don't need any of it.
Sounds good.
But we need like another like Entourage or Ballers or like a more lighthearted HBO 30-minute. Like we don't have really one of those right now.
Not lighthearted, no. Honestly, Ballers is so good, and now that it's done, that's a great re-binge too. It was very annoying to watch week by week, but as a binge, fantastic.
Yeah, as background fodder, it's I mean, some of the storylines were annoying, but like the seasons 1, 2, and 3 were really well acted, well scripted. Soundtrack was great. Jim soundtrack all the way. That's great.
Yeah.
And Joe Kudrow, I'm blanking on his actual last name, was the star of the show. He was The Rock's partner, business partner.
Yeah.
I mean, when Andy Garcia makes an appearance in there, obviously all the NFL guys make an appearance in there.
That's a really well-made show. And it pissed off the NFL, which you have to love. Because they piggybacked the right Hard Knocks, so they got to use all the team names in the show.
Yes. And they also were, if I'm not mistaken, the series ends with Mahomes negotiating like the biggest deal in the history of like the TV show, which happened like 4 months later in real life as well.
Yes.
Right? And the Raiders end up moving to Las Vegas. You know, like there's a lot of stuff. It's one of those things where it's funny. If, you know, did you ever get into Entourage? Like into the Entourage?
100%.
Yeah. Do you know how many things like Doug Elin and company, the writers, got correct from that? Like Narcos on Netflix is Medellin, right? Like the Aquaman and the Marvel Cinematic Universe and all that. They nailed all. It's crazy how much of that stuff
old that show is. Yeah, it's insane.
They nailed all of it. Like 10 years before it actually came to be. They got it all right.
Entourage is a fantastic show.
That's the one I'd be interested in. You know,
we
need a Ari spin. Huh?
Top 10 all-time shows list.
Entourage probably cracks that list. Like, well, I think you got to break them up. I think you got to do 30-minute versus like long
1 hour.
I think you have to. And you got to
I would throw Sons of Anarchy on there. Sons of Anarchy, Breaking Bad, those have to go on.
Okay. But are you going to throw streamers into there as well? Like House of Cards? Like that's an hour long on a stream. Does that count? Or are you going to make out cable separate from?
I think you have to look at the whole series start to end. House of Cards started fantastic. Last season, poo-poo.
So then Game of Thrones doesn't belong on your pantheon of greatness.
Because do you have any desire right now to go re-binge Game of Thrones? You don't. But you would right now, if I said go watch Entourage again, you'd be like, yeah, I could do that.
Well, because they're different shows. But
Yeah, but
Entourage, the last season of Entourage was terrible. Do you remember how bad that season was? Vinny
yeah,
goes to
then they
rehab,
tried
Vinny's
to
out of
tie it
rehab,
into
Vinny's
the
a
movie.
thing, and then the movie should have been like 5 episodes of a like a mini run season, not what it ended up. That was really bad, right? So
But you know, like I mean,
very few shows actually end as good as they start, right? I mean, Sons of Anarchy's just probably and Breaking Bad. I'm trying to think of The Wire. Like there's a couple. The Office. There's a couple that were able to
I'm
redeem
huge
themselves
on
towards
West
the end.
Wing. I love West
West
Wing.
Wing, yeah, West Wing would work too. That'd be
Sopranos.
interesting. We should do that. We
Yeah.
can do like a knockout bracket. Just
Ooh, yeah,
let's all
Barstool style.
yeah, yes, exactly. We get everybody to put in. Everybody nominates like 3 or 4 shows. We'll draw them at random into a bracket, and then we'll go
LP
from there.
can't play because he just watches Fox 5 News at 10 and TV Guide. That's all he watches.
Okay. Anything else you want to get into?
Nah, I'm good. That was a good show.
Yeah, it's nice
Prayers
to hear
up
your
to
voice.
Rob.
Nice to-
Hopefully you make a quick recovery.
Yes. Oh man, we need him badly. We're gonna need him badly. You been watching any baseball? You watch Corbin get a win?
I did see that. I
42
saw like
chances later?
ESPN highlights of it, but
Yeah, it's a lot of losing from that team. I mean, you have any as a casual baseball fan? What's your take on Soto in the trade?
I understand it. I listened to Stevie break it down. I understand it. It sucks. It sucks as a pill you have to swallow. But it's also gotten to the point where I'm not a fan of wearing my Nats hat anymore. I don't want to rock the curly W for a while. I think I'm gonna go back to caps only gear.
Are the Caps doing anything yet? Like
No.
a month away from
Getting healthy.
season.
Tom Wilson got married. They're just
Oh,
enjoying
you
the
there?
offseason.
Yeah, you got pictures this year. It seems
His
I-
girl is a smoke show. She's
of course. Well, good for him. Very happy for him. Thanks for making time, FP. Appreciate you as always coming on and chatting with me and kind of mixing it up here. For everybody that's just stumbling onto this show, the name is DTC Defeating the Curse. We can debate what the curse is, but for the time being, we're going to keep it attached to the Commanders franchise, and you can figure out what component of the franchise is the curse. If you need help, let us know. You can find us on social media. If you like the show, give us a follow. You can always watch the show live on YouTube. We stream YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter in real time as we record. It's up usually about 20 minutes later or so on Spotify, Apple iTunes, Google Podcast. You can tell Alexa to play DTC and it comes right up as well. You can pretty much find us anywhere. Same website, defeatingthecurse.com. You can find the show at we have from there you can link to the show page as well if you want the back catalog of almost 250 episodes. We've been doing this for quite a while. And on Facebook, we're at Defeat the Curse. So if you found the show, you found it interesting, or you just stumbled upon it, give us a like. Happy to hear from you. We're here. We cover the local teams. We tend to be football heavy, but you get a lot of our lives as well. My name is Joe. His name is FP. He was on mic 2 this evening. We have LP, who's occasionally on. I'd love to mix it up and talk European soccer with him. Arsenal looks fantastic, FP. I know the show is closing here, but Arsenal looks tremendous. This could be
All I know
season.
about soccer is LP's been hitting big on his MLS parlays.
Good for him. Good for him. We want everyone to make money around here. And occasionally we get Stevie and Matt the Met. We get the Razzle Dazzle in here to do some bets and some football talk as well. So rotating cast of characters, but we love this show. We love doing it. It's completely free. We do it because we enjoy it, and we hope you do too. Until next time, my name is Joe. This is Defeating the Curse. We are out.